Okay, our next presenters, Marshall and Judie Rice. They have been members of CFRI for 3 years. Marshall told me he's had his real estate license for 11 years, but didn't start doing these types of deals until he joined CFRI and joined Augie Bailat's coaching program. So we'll have you tell us about your deal, Marshall.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, how did you find the deal, first of all?
Sent letters out. Judie and I sent out letters regularly, and he called me. If you've sent letters out, you get some like this. He said, "I've been receiving your letters." And it was kind of a gruff voice. And I said, "Don't tell me. You don't want them anymore." He says, "No, I want to sell my house." I said, "Great."
And when did he want to sell it?
He wanted to sell it right away. And I said, "Can we come down and take a look at it?" And he said, "Well, maybe, in a few days, because I got other letters and I'd like to really get the best deal I can get." And I said, "Well, we're free right now. We'd like to come down and take a look at it. It might not even be something we're interested in." And we went down like within an hour and took a look at it and talked to him about it. His main motivation was that he wanted to sell it. He didn't have a mortgage on it. He wanted to get the money and buy a big motor home, and he just didn't want to. He wanted to leave the house situation behind. So we said, "Well, we'll see what we can do." We came down and talked to him and struck up a deal right then for $70,000. That was what he wanted. He wanted to know that he could walk out of closing with $70,000 in his pocket.
Great. So, and at the time, what did you think the house might be worth?
I thought it was worth at least 130 or 40, maybe 150.
You told me 165, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. As I looked at it a little more, then I thought it was 165.
Yeah. And when was this? This was last year, right? In the fall?
It was over the holidays, the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much work did it need?
It needed total and complete rehab. It needed everything. It didn't have the doors. There were no doors on the cabinets. There was junk and stuff everywhere. The things that had gone good for it, it had 2 huge oak trees, one in the front, one in the back, and he trimmed those way up, and he'd put a new roof on it. But the rest of it was cinder block, but it needed 3 bathrooms completely redone, 2 kitchens completely redone, virtually all new floor covering. Aiden with Soto, AAA, quadruple A did that.
Uh-huh.
The carpet did a great job.
And you chose to do the rehab, but how did you get the money to buy the deal?
We have, Judie and I both put our money in all of our retirement money in Newview, and so we were able to pull it out of our Roth IRA.
Okay, for those people that don't know, Newview is a self-directed IRA company, a business member of CFRI. So you told me that you didn't know about that you could buy houses in your IRA until you joined, and that's what you did.
Not until I joined here. Didn't know anything about coaching or about Augie Bailat or Newview or anything else until we came here 3 years ago, even though I'd been a realtor for years.
Now, did you think about just selling this house right away once you got it under contract, or?
No, just because of the training that we'd been through with Augie, I knew that this was one that we could rehab, fix it up, and sell it for a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah,
and how did the closing go? Did it happen pretty quickly?
It took some time. It took about 60 days or so, because it was over the holidays, to get it completely rehabbed. The contractors were in and out because of the holidays, and that took a little while. We actually got 2 offers on Christmas Eve, and one of them we accepted, and then that took another 40 days or so for it to get closed. But it was a wild ride all the way. When we went down to do the inspection on the house, the guy called me that morning and said, "Could you come to the emergency room and pick me up?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "I don't have a ride. They won't release me." So I went down and picked him up at the emergency room, and he had his gauze all on his arm. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "I was cleaning up late last night, and I had this glass in this plastic bag, and I went out late at night, and I threw it in the trash, and it went across my arm, and I didn't realize there was glass sticking out, and it cut an artery." And he had a trail of blood. It has a huge, long driveway. Complete trail of blood down the whole driveway, all across the front of the house, up the steps, and a pool of blood, I'm not kidding, this big, on a chair where he'd been sitting. All of that was still there after I picked him up, because the inspector joined us and we had to keep stepping over it all the time. That was only the first trip to the emergency room.
Okay.
The second was just before the Folcos came for a closing. That was one of the things. He didn't want to have to go somewhere for closing, so he said, could they come here? I said, yeah, I know this great couple, Frank and Sue Folco. They're used to working with Commonwealth Trust, and so they put the thing in the trust and with the New View IRA. So
And they're a title company that handled the closing.
Equity Title in Lakeland, and members of CFRI. So they were going to come that morning. Well, the day before, I was doing a final walk before they came, and I couldn't get the door open. He said, just come on in, because I've been up all night. And I kept trying to push the door, and it felt like boxes were behind it. And I finally got the door open, and it was Bert. And he was laying on the other side of the door with a broken foot and somewhat inebriated. He'd been up all night, and he tripped on his blanket when he got up to go to the bathroom and fell and broke his foot. So I had to take him to the emergency room again. And they wouldn't release him because he was inebriated, so he had to spend the night. That was the day before the closing. So then the next morning I had to go back and pick him up at the emergency room again to bring him to the closing.
So you went through a lot to get this closing done.
It was a little crazy.
To buy the property.
Yeah.
What did Judie do to help you sell it?
She has all kinds of great ideas.
Well, one thing that we love to do on all of our properties is help out the neighbors. So in this case, as you walked across the front sidewalk of that home, you were facing the neighbor's garage. And the neighbor had two very fierce dogs. And they had ripped to shreds the blind that was in the window on the side of the garage. So we spoke to the neighbors, and they had an old rickety wire fence between our house that we rehabbed and theirs. So we told them we'd like to replace their fence for them. So we put a nice cedar fence all across the space between the two of us. And then their house also was covered with mold. So we told them that we would really like to power wash their home for them. They were very grateful.
Awesome.
And then on a previous home that we rehabbed, not this one, the man directly across the street was on full disability. And he had had painters come to paint his house. They only painted half of his house, and they skipped town. So when we found that out, we finished painting his house for him.
Awesome.
So we just love helping out the neighbor as part of our rehabs.
Yeah, and it
So
helps
that's a
you
tip.
sell. And what did you sell the house for once you listed it after it was done?
We
Some
sold it for
before and after.
$177,000, and we profited almost $53,000.
Yep. And how long did that take?
It took 120 days.
4 months for $53,000 profit. And do you have to pay any tax on that profit?
No, we pay no tax on that profit,
And it's-
thanks to New View.
Because you have it in a self-directed IRA, not because you're skipping
self-directed
town and
IRA.
not paying tax. Okay.
That's right.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? Todd?
He just liked us. That's the truth. He never took any other offers. We told him we really wanted to help him out, and we genuinely did.
And they got there quickly, too. They got there fast to do
Yeah.
it. Question? Oh.
Not 1 second.
They did not know the
No, we didn't
owner
know him at
beforehand.
all.
Somebody over here.
With the new view and the IRA, is it allowed for you to rehab the house yourself? Or did you have to pay somebody else? Because that would be
Yes,
part of
if
the
it's in an
management.
IRA, then you cannot work on the house yourself. So I couldn't work on it, which kills me because I love doing that sort of thing. But you have to hire someone to work on the house if you have it in an IRA. Otherwise, you're contributing illegally to your IRA. Like if I went and painted it instead of paying somebody $3,000 to paint it.
One more question? Yes. Good question. How many direct mail pieces did you send out to get that response?
I think he had received 3.
From you?
But, yes, from me, but I looked at it on my paperwork, and I think it was like maybe $3,500 or something like that total over a period of time. And we got another sale out of the letters also, another house that we made a lot of money on as well.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause.